or good morning, everybody. We're right on that cusp of it being afternoon, but not quite there yet. I hope you guys enjoyed the music this morning. Again, that's all AI generated from suno.com. It's all free if you want to go play with that. We're talking compliance today. I know it's not probably the most sexy subject, but we're also going to jump into some other fun things as well. It's not just compliance, but I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about some of the compliance stuff because it's what helps keep you guys out of trouble. It makes you not look like a fool when you're using some of this stuff. We're also going to talk about best practices and workflow integration. While we go ahead and get started. Starting to get a few more people jumping in. That's good. As always, what's the one thing that by doing so you get the most out of this class? And that's going to be participation. Please participate. It is so much more fun when you guys participate. Some of you have been doing a great job. This is our 5th class, and this will not be our final class, but it'll be a final class of this month. So participate and try to keep your cameras on unless you're driving. If you're driving, camera off so you are safe. But if you're sitting in front of your computer, it is much appreciated that you have your screen on so I can see who I'm talking to. All right, ahas from last week. What's your biggest takeaway from practicing the RICE method and the 7 hacks from last week? Let's practice that participation part first. I gave you one right there. AI is not coming for your job. It's coming for your busy work. And you'd be crazy not to let it. That's from Jason Abrams, right in the AI playbook itself.
Basically, see all the prompts in action and also having the opportunity to create our prompts ourselves. Like it was really helpful to have a class where really is a hands-on. Oh,
Thank you.
I know that.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Valentina. Anybody else? Did anybody go and put into action the actual RICE method, start working on it and get better at it? Come on, guys. Especially some of you guys have your cameras off. Please turn your cameras on and please participate.
Yes, Ryan. I did use it and it was really useful. I had the newsletters, created a 1 page for my client, and then I just play with it. It was really fun.
Did you run into any issues?
The only thing I wanted to know is how to connect
Zapier
to my
stay tuned on that part of it. We're going to stack that on in future classes. That's going to be a little bit more advanced.
Thank you.
The purpose of the past several weeks is to get you to the point where you can create a prompt and talk to the AI the way it prefers to be talked to make sure you get the right results. Because if we talk to it as we would normally talk to each other, sometimes we're a little bit vague because we understand the context of the conversation. It doesn't understand the context. So we have to give it the context.
I just wanted to share something that happened to me, and I don't want it to happen again, and I hope it will not happen to you. I work on my prompt in ChatGPT, and I did it nice and long and beautiful on a specific subject on a commercial building. And when I clicked to send, it bugged, and I lost the prompt.
Oh, no.
So now I copy my prompt, and then I lost the whole thing that I had to work on.
Sometimes, especially if you're going to write them all out long like this, again, we're going to go into some future stuff, not today, but on October 7th, we're going to be starting the 202 level classes, and we're going to go into some stuff that will help with that. So you don't have to write this stuff over and over again, especially within the RICE method. We're going to show you how to work within different folders and different GPTs. I just want you to make sure that you understand how to do this stuff and why you're doing this stuff ahead of time. We're going to layer on top of that. One of the tips that I use is I always write it out in a Google Doc first. That way I can edit it and make it the way I want to. So that would be one tip I would give. Thank you for sharing that, Stefan. Anybody else? All righty. Let's jump into compliance. All right. So we're going to be playing by the rules, making sure we're following the rules we have to follow by so that we don't get in trouble when we're using some of this stuff. And there are rules. We have federal, state, and local laws, including TCPA, CAN-SPAM, and Fair Housing Act that we have to pay attention to. So please make sure that if you don't know these rules, you look them up and be compliant with that. If you were creating the prompt as we were teaching, we'll make sure that you took into accommodation these different rules. I'm going to give you some examples of what that looks like. Myth, AI is always accurate. The truth is AI can make things and can be totally wrong at times. It's getting better as these models are improving, but I'm still finding that some of these things have nothing to do with what I talked about. So it's always good that you check your work. Don't let it just give you an answer and you just take it. I see it happen. I see people post it. It's like going on Facebook and believing everything you see on Facebook. Just because somebody posted it there doesn't mean it's accurate. It's true. They can say whatever they want on there, right? Well, so can AI. It'll say things, as Mark Benson said, frequently. It happens frequently. So check your work. Don't just trust it. You got to verify it. Always follow the fair housing rules when creating content. For example, listing descriptions. Make sure you're not putting in words that we're not allowed to use. And if you don't know what those words are, I'm going to ask you that so keep it ethical and avoid misrepresenting the property or clients with AI generated content. Don't put stuff into your content that would lead them to believe otherwise. Here's our first activity. If we don't even have to leave here. It's just 1 minute. I just want you guys right now to please go into the chat and put some of the things that we should be avoiding. What are some of those things that we should be avoiding? Let's make a list in the chat. Think of description. What's one word you could potentially violate fair housing rules with? Nice church nearby. Good. Religion. Yeah. Definitely stay away from politics. Walking distance, walking closet. Yeah. That's very vague when you say it's within walking distance of the store. Well, what's walking distance to me versus you, especially if I'm in a walker? Crime. Yeah.
Well, also walking can imply that everyone is able, and then some people are not able.
Correct. Anybody else? What's some other ones? No dogs. That's just a shame. There should never be a place where you can't have dogs. But gotta be careful with it.
I have a question.
Yes.
So is it okay if we just copy the whole article into the file and tell it to remember?
Absolutely. When we get into some of this more advanced stuff that I'm going to show you, you can actually take the document, and if
Yeah.
you've got it somewhere, you can just download it as a PDF and drop the whole PDF.
Yeah, that's what I did to this.
Good. No children, perfect family home. Why is it no children, but okay to have 55 and up? I'm almost there. I can almost get some of those 55 and up discounts. Family home. All right. So hopefully this here helps you guys jog your memory and make sure you're not using some of these things in your descriptions, because by doing this, it obviously is going to create that, and it could be creating more material for you later. And it's going to, by you allowing it to do that, it's going to continue to do that. If you correct it, it won't continue to do that. All right. So here's 7 essential compliance tips for AI use. 1, TCPA compliance. The TCPA prohibits AI voice calls unless you have prior express written consent. This is important because I see your hand up. That'll come to you in just a second. I get this asked quite often by people, or they just go ahead and do it. They're trying to set up so that AI pretty much does all their communication for them. And that's great, except you're not building a relationship directly with that client. I remember Jason Abrams talking about emotional proximity. If that AI is doing all the work, then you're not close in emotional proximity. Emotional proximity is basically how many of your senses are, as a person, are you actually using with somebody? So if we were all sitting in a room together, we would use a lot more senses. We could hear my voice, but we could also shake each other's hands. You could smell what cologne I'm wearing. Nobody would be tasting me, but if I brought cookies or anything like that, you might be tasting the cookies that I brought. But remember that. You guys ever have a home inspector or anything that brings cookies by your office, and you always look forward to that person? They walk in the room and you can almost taste it right away. Those are important emotional proximity feelings that we get to something. You remember something from being a kid because of a smell you smelled. I remember my grandfather and how he would drink some really thick milk that had a really sour smell to it, and I didn't like it. I remember that smell. Those are all important things. So that can't replace you. AI can't do that. It can't smell it. It can't feel it. So it's very important that you still have that piece of it, but it can do a lot of the other pieces for you. Don't try to replace yourself in all instances. The AI voice calls are illegal. They're not to be used in that method according to TCPA guidelines. So be very careful with those, unless you do have written consent from them saying that it was okay. For example, if you've gotten a Facebook ad and it saying in the Facebook ad that it's okay to reach out to them via that, which it does in ours, then you would be able to go ahead and use those to get them warmed up until you can actually have a real conversation with them. All right. Donna, did you have a question in regards to this or anything else did you want to bring up? You're muted, Donna.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Mandana kind of touched on what I was going to ask, which is, can you download some of our key documents, code of ethics, etc., and will it keep it for kind of everything, or do you have to keep reminding
In
us?
the chat, no, but in the sessions that we're going to talk about in week 1 for next month, in the 202 classes, I'm going to show you how to make that happen for you. We're going to build AI agents on the first week, and those AI agents have specific duties for you. It's like having a whole slew of assistants working for you, but they are specifically focused on a specific task, and they're going to do that for you. So you can take the documents and upload them into that assistant, and then anytime you have a question, like whether it be marketing or if it be a contract or anything like that, it'll do that for you.
Right. Great. Thank you.
All right. Verify AI outputs. Thoroughly review all AI generated output for factual accuracy before using the public or publishing. As you can see in this photo right here, which I created with AI, it's getting better because I actually had to force it to make this picture. It used to be that if you made a picture of a person, you'd have to check and count how many fingers they have, because all of a sudden you notice they have 6 fingers instead of the 5 they're supposed to have. And I had to force it to make this one to show what I'm talking about. So our AI is getting better, but please make sure you're checking it. I know I showed you guys some photos a couple weeks ago where I had cleaned up a kitchen, and you could see where it went and opened up a wall in that kitchen. It was very hard to see, but it was there, and that's not factually accurate, and you don't want to misrepresent that in any of your listing photos. Client confidentiality. Make sure you're turning off data sharing settings in the LLM. So when I say LLM, again, I'm talking about ChatGPT, I'm talking about Gemini, I'm talking about Perplexity, Claude, any of those they're using. If you go up to your settings, there should be a setting in there that says that you're not sharing to help improve the model. The last thing you want to do is upload one of your client's contracts into ChatGPT or Gemini and share that to help train their model, because now they have access to that information and it's somebody's private information. So please make sure that's turned off. There's this guy, I'm going to have him coming on to help teach in future class on this. And that was his biggest thing. He's been involved in lots of different lawsuits that have to do with AI and how it's been used. He said the biggest thing he suggests to everybody is please make sure you turn this off whenever you're going to be using it for uploading any documents that are of sensitive nature. If you want it to help with your finances, great, but make sure you turn off the sharing part so that your finances aren't being shared out. Otherwise, you're training the model on your stuff. So look for that. I use Gemini a lot. So when I go into Gemini, I can go into the settings, and there's a button right there, a toggle that says you can help improve the model by sharing your information. You just toggle that off and you'll stop sharing. Copyright. Do not upload images unless you have the copyright owner's permission. Disclose if any image is virtual staging or the person is AI generated or altered. So if this was a completely clear room and you put this furniture in here, make sure that when you're putting it to MLS, you are following MLS's rules and marking that it is virtually staged or AI generated. I see a lot of times people putting photos in. One of the things I like that they do is they actually put the original photo in, and then they'll also put the AI generated photo in, so you can see the difference. That way you're not hiding it from someone. If you just put the AI generated photo in, that's what the room is. When they show up, it's obviously not that. I've seen people take these AI generated photos and have them blown up and put in the room so they can see them there. That's a good idea. But what you don't want to do is lead people to believe this is that room, especially with some of this AI generated stuff. That window on the right could potentially not be there because AI could have just decided to put that window there or turn that window into a door. Be very careful with that. Content protection. AI generated content is generally not protected under current US copyright law. If you create a photo and put it in there, you do not have to get copyright permission because it is not protected at all. So you're free to use that stuff. Just make sure you're letting people know that it is AI generated or it's been virtually staged. Ways to market your home for successful sale. Advertising laws. Follow the applicable advertising laws. So make sure you're including your broker name, DBA license, anytime you're doing advertising other than the MLS, of course. We can't put our brokerage logos on our MLS photos, but if you're doing a virtual tour, any video sites, and not MLS sites, but social networks, make sure if you're posting it, you're doing Facebook ads, you do have your applicable DBA license number where it's required. Avoid misrepresenting the property. Okay, in this one, I threw this house directly from my website into Gemini, which is amazing when it comes to editing photos. And basically I asked it to make this lawn look like it was a golf course and to add some foliage to the surrounding house. And it did a great job of it. However, this is not what the house looks like. So don't put this in as your front photo and not say it's not AI generated. Make sure you're putting in the actual photo or showing what it could look like. You can give people a representation of what it is. So be ethical is what basically we're saying. All right. So those are 7 things. And I will make sure that in the email I sent to you guys, you have all those so you can make sure you're following those processes and not be unethical. All right. So workflow integration. So we're going to work on a workflow, making AI work for you, reoccurring tasks. We talked about this a little bit. I know that I think it was Madonna said that she had created a newsletter. You can actually ask that newsletter to make sure that it does that reoccurring. So I could tell it, please send this newsletter to me every Monday at 7 a.m. And then you'll get a notification that your newsletter is ready. I'll create a new newsletter for you every month. Or if you do it daily. For example, if you wanted to remind you to practice and role play with you, you could ask it to remind you every morning at 7 a.m. to practice and role play with you. And you'll get a notification on there stating it's ready to practice and role play with you. You can use it not just for newsletters, but also for content ideas. If you do a monthly social media calendar, you want content ideas, it'll come up with the next 30 days worth of content ideas for you and return that to you on a monthly basis. For workflow, make sure you're asking it to return these back within a specific time that you want. Project folders. So we're going to go into this more again in 202, showing you how to utilize these, but project folders are like smart workspaces. So think of a folder. Say you're working with 123 Main Street. You've got a bunch of documents in these folders that you can upload to these folders. And I'm specifically more so talking in ChatGPT. You don't have these in Gemini as much right now. I'm sure they're coming, but in ChatGPT, and I believe also in Claude has these folders. You can add documents into the folders and you have instructions using the Rice method. From there, you can ask questions based on it. So if I'm using these for my properties, I would put 123 Main Street as a folder. Any documents I have for the listing, I can put those listing documents in there. That way I could ask AI specific questions on this. Might even upload some photos too, so I can ask questions about it. Like maybe you need to know if there's appliances in there. You can't remember. Well, you can just ask it real quick and not have to look up the photos. That goes into one folder. It keeps everything there. You can keep on asking questions based upon that. Again, we're going to show you exactly how to do that in 202 level. Voice assistants. Use tools like voice assistants for hands-free operation on the go, such as getting market data, replying to emails, and even practice role play. If you go in and set it up, you can practice role play. You can ask it to talk like a seller who's got an expired listing and make it challenging or more challenging or less challenging, depending on what you want. Very good at practicing this. I use this quite often. A lot of times I'll even use it to try and help me read some books to me. If I feed it a PDF, I can have it read a book to me. You can get it to summarize a lot of things for you. I use it quite often when summarizing different materials. I can even use it sometimes to summarize some of the good questions. I'm going to make sure this is recorded. Verify that it is. Should we go?
It looks like it is, Ryan. On the participants there, it's showing the blinking recording button. So I think it is.
Thank you. Yeah, it shows online it's recording. I did make that mistake on the Canvas class once. I don't want to have to go back and re-record this.
Ryan, did you say it would read a book?
It will read a book to me, yeah. If you have a PDF version of the book, you can throw it into there and ask it to read it back to you, and I'll read it back to you. Or you can ask it to summarize it and read it to you. If you use Notebook LM from Google, you could throw the book into there and create a podcast based upon that book. And I'll just sit there and talk about it. So it's very helpful when it comes to that. Notebook, if you're not using that, look it up. You won't be able to use it under your KW email address because it's not available to us underneath that. But if you have any other Gmail address, look up Notebook. It is free and a very powerful tool, especially when it comes to learning. You want to learn a new language? It'll help you with that. I took the first 4 classes that we've done on this, put the YouTube videos into it, and I also took the AI Playbook into it. I'm using that to help me structure this class step by step. So I'm staying incremental and not trying to jump ahead. I can get really excited sometimes and jump ahead on some of this material. And it helped me make sure I didn't do that so that they teach it to you properly. Using it for something like that, it'll give you a video overview, a podcast, a voice overview. It's pretty powerful. But I use it all the time to help me with learning. You can use it as a way to practice role play. Anybody else have any experience using the voice assistant they'd like to share and what ways it's helped you?
I just wanted to add something that I heard from Sully DeGusto, who's a keynote speaker at the Luxury Symposium coming up.
Yep.
She said, speak in a voice, meaning the way you write, that sounds like you. If you create something that sounds sophisticated and that's not the way you talk, when people meet you, it comes across as disingenuous.
When you're using these things, you're teaching it. More you talk into it, the more information you give to it, or he's learning. Even if you turned it off so it's not learning to share with others, it's still learning you. All right, we're going to do another activity. In this activity, I want you to automate a small recurring task. So when I just gave you a couple ideas on some things to do. I want you to actually go in and do it. I don't want you to just come to this class and hear me talk about things. I want you to walk away with something that actually works. So if you can go into whatever AI you're currently using and ask it to create a recurring task, such as social media ideas that are given to you monthly, weekly, however you want to do it. It could be a newsletter, a recurring task just to remind you to do your practice and role play with you every month. But choose one and go ahead and create that task. Remember the RICE method. I'll put music on and we'll take just a minute to go ahead and create that.
Sun's in the sky, got it holistic, feeling too high. But the truth they give, it's the jungle made. Navigate through the herd whispers out, go and see, KW South. Hold, let's get to breathe. It may be rapid scripts, bit journeys making fruit. Will make me
All right. Who wants to share what they were able to accomplish?
It's David. I'm driving. That's why my camera's on. You hear me okay?
You were able to accomplish driving. Good job, David.
Yeah, no, I'm driving. That's why my camera's not on. I've experienced this before, and I do have ChatGPT Pro, and I do like creating recurring tasks. But lately, each time I go to create one, it says, you have asked to create too many tasks. Please remove one. Well, which one would you like us to remove to create this task? Is there a limit on tasks?
In the free account, I know there is, but I wouldn't think so in a paid account. Do you have a paid account?
I do.
That's interesting. That's a new one I've learned. I've not heard that. Perhaps I haven't created that many tasks. You get a lot of reminders then. How many do you have?
4 or 5.
That's
I'd have to look.
interesting.
I don't even know where I'd find them.
Which one are you using? ChatGPT?
ChatGPT, yeah. So for those out there that are creating their first task, it's not an issue, but I've created many recurring tasks.
It says ChatGPT has a limit of 10 tasks at any given time, including minors. So if you reach this limit, you'll need to pause or delete an existing task before you can create a new one. So
Thank you.
for bringing that up. I actually didn't know that. Anybody else? Was anybody having any problem getting to work? You feel like if you walk away today, you've got a task ready to go? Just give me a thumbs up or something. Show me that you guys are live and that you got a task working and we're good to go. I got one thumbs up.
Hey, Ryan, it's Mark.
Yes, Mark.
Yeah, so I was just going over role play. So I set it up to do it every day at 8:30, and I gave it different scenarios to play. So
Awesome.
I'll be implementing that.
Awesome. Come back on the 7th. I'd love to hear some ahas from you on that and how it went. I use that quite often, not just to role play with the buyers and sellers, but also to role play with you guys so that if somebody's going to hunt ahead and they're mad at me, how to deflate that and then bring it down and say, listen better and ask better questions. So it does work. It's helpful, especially if you're just sitting in traffic and got nothing else to do. Might as well put that on, just play with it. All right, move on to the next. Workflow integration, making AI work for you by systems for delegation and risk mitigation. So what we're talking about here, the perfect EA handoff. I know it's really tiny. You probably can't see everything that's at the bottom of the screen, so don't worry. I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat if you want to do it. If you use the perfect EA handoff, you're going to use this prompt to create an onboarding manual for a new executive assistant. It captures the core business models, communication protocols, tech stacks, and preferences to enable seamless delegation. This comes directly from the AI Playbook. If you've gotten the AI Playbook, then you can copy it from there if you want. Also, I'm going to put it into the chat so you can copy it there. I have a backup option as well because I did it for you. There is a new feature in Google Gemini that's not new in some of the others. All right, so there's the piece that comes from the perfect EA handoff. Now, one thing I didn't like about this, and sometimes I don't prefer answering like 20 questions all at once. I prefer to answer them one by one. So I adjusted this a little bit on mine, and I created a Google Gem, which we're going to show you how to make these again on the 7th to make your own. But this gem will make it so that you can just go through one by one and answer the questions. You don't have to go through and answer all 20 questions. If you want to create it on your own, go ahead and use this one I just gave to you, and you can create your own by just putting that in as your prompt. If you want to use the one that I created for you, then all you have to do is scan this QR code right here. And that QR code will allow you access to the gem. And it's already created for you. You can just go through it. Now, what this does is not become your AI assistant. What it becomes is it assists you in creating a perfect EA handoff. So if you're to get a VA or you're to get an actual executive assistant that works with you, it's going to take everything that you tell it and it's going to create a user manual so that it'll help you train that new executive assistant. Again, this comes directly from the AI Playbook that Jason and Abrams created. Scan that QR code and you will have that gem available to you, and you can go back and answer all those questions because it's going to answer you a ton of questions. And you may have to keep on answering the questions. You may just get into it and answer a few questions now, then keep going back through it and answer more questions later. But the point here is you will keep on training until it becomes your perfect manual to hand off to somebody else.
Ryan,
This is not just for business. This is to take care of you too. So an example is you may like having a coffee in the morning and it's got 2 sugars and a little bit of cream. I didn't know that. Yes, Mr. Benson.
so I scanned it and it comes up on my phone and it says Ask Gemini. So is that where I'm beginning? Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, Ryan.
Yes, ma'am.
Do I need to get an app for this?
It's going to
Just-
probably want you to open up Gemini. If it doesn't, from scanning it, it'll probably put it on there.
It did open up, but it's not an app. It's just, I think it's in Safari.
That's fine. You can use it in there too. It's not going to hurt. If you wanted to download the app, then it would open up automatically in your app. I'm surprised it didn't ask you to download it. They're not that invasive. Good questions. And why any of you guys are in luxury, don't forget Mark's doing his call today and to be able to jump on and hear Mark interview someone. All right. So workflow integration for making AI work for you. We're going to talk about systems for delegation and risk mitigation. We're talking flags here. I actually use this one myself. It's a red flag finder, basically. I just upload a document like I have a listing and somebody sent me an offer on the listing. So I upload whether it be the residential contract or the as-is contract, and it looks for red flags, the missing dates, missing signatures, stuff like that. And it will summarize it for you. I've got the script. I will put this into the chat, and then I will give you the QR code for the one I've already created, depending on which one you want to use. If you just want to copy and paste this to make your own layer, that's perfectly fine as well. But let me just get this for you. All right, so there's for this one. And then here's your QR code for the one I already created for you. Now, I created one in ChatGPT for myself, and the one I'm creating in ChatGPT I've been working on for a while because I keep on refining it. Even these, you can refine. So if you find that it's not doing something that you want, for example, mine, I wanted it to give me a dashboard showing me for each property that I put in there, where they stand each day. It prompts me every day, let me know this property is missing this, this, and this. It's almost acting like it's my transaction coordinator in a way. But it does help because when I send stuff to my transaction coordinator, I'm not looking like a fool missing a bunch of stuff and her coming back to me saying, hey, you missed this and this. Now I'm going back to her saying, here's the complete file, and it's actually complete because I caught it ahead of time. So before I respond to the buyer's agent, I already know 100% that, yes, I will share this just like I have in all the other ones. I will always share it in the email with everything. I can send this out to the buyer's agent and say, hey, you missed these signatures before I give it to my sellers to sign. I missed an initial on page 11 at the very bottom. So here I don't have to worry about that because it catches it for me. All right, so we'll move on to the next one, which is systems and delegation risk mitigation on condition consult. You can upload photos of stale listings to get a property rating and recommended improvements for buyer appeal. I know a lot of people who need this. I've been looking for a new house myself, and as I'm going through all these photos, I'm like, somebody actually hired this person. So I almost want to just hand them this and be like, here, upload all your photos here and see if this is really something you should be putting up, because some of these photos are really bad that these people are putting on MLS. If you feel like your property is just not moving and you want a recommendation, you can go ahead and put this in here and upload some of the photos. I will suggest that please don't put one photo in here. It will give you recommendations on one photo, but the more photos you add to it, the better it's going to be at giving you recommendations. So I'm going to copy again this script and I will give this to you. Here's the script if you want to copy that. And then here's your QR code. All you have to do is upload some of the photos and ask it to give you recommendations. I'll search the photos and give you recommendations on what to do, whether it needs new paint, whether it needs better quality photos, it needs to be better staging. And if you could feed it the MLS, the listing information, you can copy and paste that into it and see if it'll help clean that up as well. The point is to go through the photos. If you wanted to download it as a PDF from the MLS and put the whole listing in there, you can put that in there as well. But again, the main point here is it's going to rate the photos and give you suggestions. It's going to give 3 impactful improvements that would most increase your buyer's appeal and speed up the sale, prioritizing the highest return on investment. All right, so I've given you 3 of these to play with. This is workflow integration. These are workflow things that I'm actually going to be teaching you on October 7th, how to create these on your own. You can see right here, but in my personal opinion, the instructions on this, which was given in the AI notebook, my personal opinion is these instructions are very loose, and that's okay because this is an introduction for you guys to them, getting to play with them. But as you're going to learn, as you start going through some of these things, I don't think she's on here today. Last week, she was saying that she was trying some of this and she had to keep on correcting it. She had to keep on asking questions, and that's good. You want to do that. As you start learning to do that, you're going to learn to improve this piece of it. So even the 3 I gave you, I did improve the first one. If you actually go look at the script on the first one, you'll notice that the first one is a little bit different from the one that I gave to you here. as I was doing it, I started improving it, and I didn't want to mess it up too much. That's why I didn't change the other two very much. Also, you'll find as you're doing a gem inside of Google Gemini, it has the AI built into creating the gem that'll reword how it's done to make it more effective as well. So play with Gemini, play with ChatGPT and those things, and kind of get used to what this is. Because when we start on the 7th, we're going to be showing you how to create your own agents. And that's what these basically are, agents doing specific roles for you. You've got one that will help you with red flags. You've got one right here that's going to help you with your photos and conditions and the perfect EA handoff. Those are all directly from the AI playbook. We're sticking to the playbook, but we're not going to be sticking to it as we go forward. And the next class is too much because we're going to get more and more advanced. I want you to learn how to make these on your own so that you can have specific jobs that it'll do for you. Some of the other ones that you could do in here is maybe if you have several properties that you want to analyze, the goal is that you don't have to keep on telling you what to do. You probably analyze the properties the same way over and over. We're going to teach you how to build your own to analyze a property. You can take 3 to 5 properties, throw them in there, and it will tell you which one's going to be the best deal. And that will speed you up considerably. I've got a spreadsheet and I've done that on the pens. So that spreadsheet will help me because I could probably take that and throw that in there. You can learn from that spreadsheet on how I currently do it. Fine. So that is all I have for you today. This was the last class of the 101. And we did go through, we talked about compliance quite a bit, showing you, I'm just going to go through it really quickly. 7 essential compliance tips. We have TCPA, verify, don't just trust, verify. Make sure you go and turn your settings off. If you're feeding anything AI, that you turn off the setting that helps improve AI, because if you're improving AI, that means it's reading your actual materials. You don't want to put your contracts, bank statements, or anything in there. Don't feed that to the AI to learn on. Make sure that's turned off. I just leave it off until I actually need it to be on. The reason I would need it to be on is because it's something that I'm just playing with. It's got nobody's personal information on there, and I do want it to learn from that. But for the most part, I leave it off. Copyright issues, make sure you're not using photos that you don't own and start generating. Also, if you've created anything off your own photos and it's AI, you don't, just because it's AI created, it doesn't mean it's copyrighted. It's not protected. If you create something in ChatGPT or Gemini and share that photo that's been enhanced, you do not have to get copyright permission because it's not copyrighted. However, make sure you share that it is AI generated or virtually staged. Make sure you follow applicable advertising laws for your broker DBA and license. And again, don't misrepresent the property by changing it, affecting, and not sharing that that property has been enhanced. All right. So this house on the right looks amazing, and it's the exact same house, except for the clouds are missing. There's a much better landscaping package, and the grass looks immaculate. All right. We talked about different recurring tasks that you can use to help your workflow. We talked about folders and projects, which we're going to get into those again more starting on the 7th. We talked about using the voice assistant that's built into ChatGPT and Perplexity and all Claude and Gemini. They're all very good. It'll help you with the practice role play. We set up a recurring task, hopefully. We also talked about the perfect EA handoff, the red flag finder, and the condition consultant. You have those that you can go and play with. Your homework is to come back next week playing with at least one of those. Ask yourself some questions as you're doing it. See if you found something that could be improved and how did you go back and improve that. And if you don't know, that's fine. But come up with questions next time we do this. Again, we won't be here next week. Next week, we're going to take a week off, and then we're going to start in October, on October 7th, and we'll pick up with level 202, just building on what you've already learned. We're going to teach you how to make these agents yourself. Any questions?
Yes, Ryan. When we scan the QR code, it went on Gemini as gem, yeah? So I can find them very easy in Explore Gems, they are still there. When we enter that into GPT, it goes into the chat. But I believe GPT has GPTs with an S that are like the gem. How we can take it so it stays with us.
That's what we're going to be teaching on the 7th.
We'll
play
Let's
with
know.
it right now. They're about the same type of thing, but we're going to go into that deep on the 7th, explaining exactly what I'm just so we don't have to call them all these different names like gems and GPTs. I'm just going to call them an AI agent. So we're going to teach you AI agents on the 7th and how to utilize that. All they basically do is take everything that I've already taught you and made it so you don't have to repeat it over and over. That's what an AI agent does. It remembers what you've already told it and it keeps iterating often so you can keep on using it. It's like having your own assistant do that specific job for you. All right. So we'll go into that in more detail on the 7th. For now, just take the things that I've given you and start playing with them. We are going to be teaching Zapier 7 in the future once we get to that point. We're not quite to that point yet. That's quite a bit more advanced. We're already set in ChatGPT or Dan set up. Let me see if I can pull mine up real quick and I'll see if I can show you. Let me get the screen over here. Can you see my screen when it shows ChatGPT? Can you guys see that? All right. So I'm going to come into where my name is right here and I'm going to go into settings. And then when you come over to data controls in the settings, you should have improved model on for everyone. You go to on and you turn that off. Mine is not turning off for some reason. Here it goes. I think my computer's running hard. There you go. And then hit done and you're good. So as long as you turn off the improved model for everyone, you're good to go. That needs to be off. Do not feed it any materials that are sensitive unless that's off.
I can't find it on Gemini.
Gemini, I will
Yeah.
see if I can bring that one up here real quick. Gemini. I'm using mine inside of my business account, but it should be very similar actually. Settings. Should be right in there. You can find that real quick. Okay, here it is. I'm just going to put this in the chat. This is the link that takes you to the settings. They have a settings menu for it. If you click on that, you should be able to turn off from there. It gives you frequently asked questions on how Gemini handles data, how you can manage your data. I believe that in our KWM, it shows it's on. Keeping your directory, let's see, chats, Google searches. 72 hours. It's a little bit different in our KW accounts than it is in our regular ones. If you have Google Gemini, because if you go to Google Gemini and you pay for it, it's right there in the bottom left corner. You can just turn it on and off. Ours has an admin set up account through KW and they manage that portion of it.
So I'm on that screen from that link. And then what am I scrolling and looking for here for data privacy?
Where it says keep activity, you should see a blue banner right there. It's showing you it's on. I'm trying to figure out here how to get that turned off. When setting is off, Google still saves chats for sanitary response. We don't want to keep that.
Yeah, I just turned mine off.
Okay, yours turned off?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Excuse me, Ryan.
Yes, ma'am.
So in ChatGPT, you said the one that said improve the model for everyone. That's the one that should be off.
Off, correct.
Okay. And if mine was on until now, is that going to be an issue?
If it's been on, it's just been feeding that information so they have access to it. Just going forward, I'd make sure you don't do that. Just be like, oops, but
And
try not to feed it any longer.
Okay. And then the one below it, it says remote browser data. Is that okay to be on?
That's fine.
Thank you.
I would suggest if you can clear your cache and cookies, at least on a weekly basis, especially if you're using MLS's Command or any other CRMs, because your CRMs tend to get updated pretty regularly. You could have issues where it's conflicting with what data it used to see versus what's been updated now. And that's when you normally will have an issue in your CRM. Because cookies and cache is pretty much almost like a screenshot that it reviews. If what's used to be there is conflicting with what's there now, you won't see it properly and you'll probably get an error code. If you just clear your cache and cookies, that usually clears that problem up. But then once you do that, you have to log back into it. And you can also use Control, Windows, and I believe R on Windows computer, and that'll help you clear caching cookies, or it's Command Control and R on a Mac. That's the quick access. Or you could just go to the lock in the top left corner in your Chrome browser and then choose the cookies option and hit the trash can on each one of the cookies. That's not going to do anything as far as security. It just helps improve your browser so that when you're looking at something, you're seeing the most up-to-date information. I guess that's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the class today. You got some of that. You can go play with some of those gems I gave you. And I look forward to hearing the feedback on it. See you guys on this event. Adios.
Thanks. Bye-bye.